Thank you. That was great. Thanks for that, Kyle. Perfect music for introducing Jenny Han, who is going to speak to us on your secret superpower. Jenny is a artist, visual artist, process art workshop facilitator, and author of the book Creative Flow, Tap and Express Your Juicy Essence. She's a certified mindfulness teacher, a co-founder of Creative Nectar Studios. Jenny offers workshops across the United States, uses art making as a tool, self-discovery, and as well as the monthly Creative Nectar podcast, which she does. And she's got the website there. It's her name.com. And we are really excited to have her back. Some of us remember her from last October. Jenny, thank you. Take it away.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you all for having me. And thank you, Kyle, for that perfect song. Yes, very inspiring. So, I do want to talk about an inherent superpower today that we all have. And I feel like this is especially important in these challenging, uncertain times that we find ourselves in at this stage of our humanity. Before we began, some of us were chatting about climate shifting and different things happening. We're living in a time of polycrisis. We are experiencing, looming climate disaster and, of course, wars and division amongst ourselves, amongst friends and family and ideologies. And these times of crisis, of course, are that combination of danger and opportunity, the two sides of the same coin. And so, in all of this, amidst our challenges, amidst the it seems dire situations that humanity is facing and what we're moving toward, we have a superpower at our disposal, and that is the power of our imagination to spark and to create change together. And so I would like to talk about this, I say secret superpower. It's not so secret. And yet, sometimes we're not always engaged with and claiming and using it for positive change. So I want to talk about imagination today. I love to start off by just looking at the definition of terms. And the Oxford Languages Dictionary defines imagination as the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the senses. Not present to the senses. So it's the ability of the mind to be creative and resourceful. And this is so important as we co-create solutions together. Wikipedia says imagination is the production of sensations, feelings, and thoughts informing oneself. And these experiences can be recreations of past experiences, such as vivid memories with imagined changes. This is where we can imagine our own healing of the past, or reimagining things that have happened for the good of now. But it's also the ability to imagine completely invented and possibly fantastic scenes. And this, my friends, is what we need now more than ever, is imagining new solutions. The word imagination is similar to the Greek term for fantasia, which is similar to fantasy. So when we're imaginative, we are whimsical, we are visionary, we are offbeat, perhaps. We are fantastic, we are artistic, we are surreal. ingenious, original. Maybe we don't fit in the status quo because imagination takes us from what is into what is possible. So that can be a radical act, that can be revolutionary. So those of you who are familiar with Unity teachings, you know that imagination is one of the 12 powers that the system for soul growth developed by Charles Fillmore and influenced by the transcendental movement, Eastern philosophy, and kind of blended with Christianity. So, you know, there's a common Unity saying, to set it right, see it right. See it right. Charles Fillmore actually said, imagination gives humans the ability to project themselves through time and space and rise above all limitations. It gives us the ability to project ourselves through time and space and rise above all limitations. So I want to talk today about why, I've already started alluding to this, but why is imagination so important? And then how can we strengthen our imagination? How can we flex that muscle and utilize it more readily? So over a century ago, a German physicist would ask himself the question, what if? And he would use this tool. So for instance, he asked himself, what if I was riding a train traveling at the speed of light and could hold a mirror out in front of my face? Would I be able to see my image in the mirror? Would light catch up? Or would the image not appear at all? Or would it appear very slowly? And of course, I'm referring to Einstein. And this led to and helped contribute to his theories of relativity. Einstein is known to have said, imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. So this power of his mind and his imagination that he often utilized for scientific experiment, it was called thought experiments. That term, I forget the German term for that, but it wasn't new with him. This goes all the way back to the times of Greece and possibly beyond. But using the power of the mind to envision potential scenarios, to do experiments. This is a faculty we've been using since we were children. Children learn and grow through make-believe, through trying on new realities. So thought experiments provide the ability to conceptualize complex scientific ideas by imagining real life scenarios. And I just love that combination of utilizing the rational mind and the imaginative fantasy mind to come up with new solutions. So the core of that practice is that question, what if? What if? And this is something I talk about in my book, Creative Flow, on the chapter of inviting play. This is something I bring to the page when I'm making art for process, is that question, what if? What if the grass didn't have to be green? What if the sky was orange? What if a panda wanted to float on this cloud in my painting? But we can apply these questions, this question of what if, to our lives. What if I didn't have to spend my life working a job that I despise, that is killing my soul? What if money were relative And gratitude was the real currency. What if we are not actually separate beings? What if we are intelligence waking up? Excuse me for 1 second. What if I had green tea right next to me to soothe my throat as I start to cough? So what if? We often ask this question, what if, in a negative way, don't we? I know I do. What if? What if the sky falls? What if we destroy our planet? What if I run out of money? What if my relationship fails? What if I lose my friends? Fill in the blank, right? What if the candidate I don't want gets into office? Blah, blah, blah. Just on and on and on, the what ifs, right? They can keep us up at night. And by the way, if you are caught in the negative what ifs, you are not alone. Neuroscientists tell us that this doom and gloom tendency is actually sort of wired into our brains. It's called the negativity bias. It is part of what helped us evolve to always be on the lookout for, the next shoe to drop, so to speak. In fact, I think it was Rick Hansen who said that the mind is like Teflon for positive experiences, and it's like Velcro for negative ones. I see some laughter happening, so I'm guessing others can relate to this. We have to consciously retain the positive experiences, because what tends to stick the most is the negative. And this is where that negative what if can come in. So the challenge and the opportunity here is for us to cultivate the positive what if, the empowered what if, the what if of our choice, of our choosing. What if everything works out right? What if humanity wakes up? What if we wake up in time and we save our planet and we save it for our future generations? And we evolve together. What if we evolve beyond war and division? What if we evolve? So you might be wondering, how does imagination fit with creativity? Are they the same thing? And they are similar, yes, indeed. I think of imagination as the seed of creativity, the seed of creative action. Because imagination involves simulating mental pictures, new ideas, concepts, and sensations without input from the physical senses, but conjuring these ideas. And I'm pointing to my head here, but imagination does not just reside in the head or in the brain, in the head brain. There's actually multiple brains in the body, but we often associate imagination with the head, the mind, but I'm speaking more about the mind, like the divine mind within us. Imagination is the seed, and creativity is then taking action on those visualizations. Or perhaps it is more of a felt sense in the body. Perhaps it's an intuition. But creativity is taking those ideas, those impulses, and then turning them into something new. So that does not need to be a piece of visual art, although I myself am a painter, I'm a visual artist. A lot of times my imagination outpictures in art. But imagination can take form into anything, right? Imagination can take form into a new business, a new relationship, a family, a philosophy, a meal, a garden. So many ways that our imagination outpictures when we put feet to it, to our ideas, to our intuitions, to our impulses. That can be as simple as the next conversation that we have. Our lives, every step that we take, every decision that we make is rooted in creativity. It is creative expression. We are spiritual beings living and expressing in these human forms, and imagination paired with creative action is the life force energy that moves and expresses through us. This is power, my friends. This is the power to affect change. When nothing is certain, everything is possible. Anything is possible. And we can use our collective imagination to hold the visions that we wish to see. I'm reading a book right now, Octavia Butler's book, Parable of the Sower. I don't know if anyone's familiar with this. It was written 30 years ago. It's kind of a dystopic story, but ironically, she's writing about today. It was actually last week was the first date in the book. And while it's difficult to read because it's so similar to our world today, except outpictured, it's like if you took our problems today and then imagined that nobody did anything to change or improve anything. What would that look like? So it's sort of a cautionary tale, but what it's reminding me is, first, it's giving me gratitude that we have an opportunity to affect change. But also it offers hope. And in this book, the character develops her own philosophy. It's called Earthseed. And I want to just read a quote from Octavia Butler, the author. She said, "Here we are, energy, mass, life, shaping life, mind, shaping mind, God, shaping God. Consider, we are not born with purpose, but with potential." We are not born with purpose, but with potential. We have the ability to co-create, to shape life. I'm not much of a Bible person myself, but there's a quote that I've always resonated with, and it's not even within the context of the story. It's an Old Testament verse, but I want to read it because I feel like it applies here. "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." From Isaiah 43:19. I am doing a new thing. It now springs forth. Do you not perceive it? There is always newness. There's always newness flowing through us as those divine ideas. And outpictured in our imagination, those are the seeds of change. Those are the seeds that can grow into creative action. There's an illustration, a symbol, a metaphor that I absolutely love, and perhaps you've heard this before. Anyone who's studied Barbara Marx Hubbard and conscious evolution, you're probably familiar with this, and that is the metamorphosis of the caterpillar into the butterfly, and how during that process in the chrysalis, how the caterpillar dissolves into that goop, and that it's the imaginal cells that hold the blueprint for the butterfly. A caterpillar does not just grow wings and become a butterfly. It breaks down to a cellular level. And at first, the cells of the caterpillar, they attack. the imaginal cells. They see them as a threat. The immune system tries to fight it with everything it has. And yet, that the persistence of the imaginal cells actually makes them stronger. And although they start out as individual cells, they begin to find each other. They begin to gather. They begin to form into the multi-cell organism that becomes the butterfly. I like to think, just as many have before, and Barbara Marx Hubbard talked about this, I like to think of those of us on the spiritual path as the imaginal cells of this collective body. On the outside, we might see breaking down of systems. We might see the ending of things that are no longer working, the ending of ideologies that are no longer working. And yet we can hold the vision through our imagination. We can become literal imaginal cells, holding the image, the prototype of what is to come, the evolution of humanity. We can hold the vision, and we can outpicture it in our actions. We can paint it, we can sing it, we can dance it, we can bake it, we can garden it, we can express it. Express it in whatever way you are called to express. Because again, my friends, you are a creative being and you have power beyond measure. So I'd like to talk just a moment and then take this into practice of ways to strengthen our imagination. And then we'll take this directly into our time of meditation. How do we strengthen it? Well, I already alluded to it earlier. Children. Children show us how to strengthen our imagination through play, through make-believe, pretending to be in another role or situation. I know it can be hard for us adults to play, but when we can cultivate some of that playful energy into our lives and begin to just make believe, what would you like to see in the world? What is possible? And to get whimsical with it, to get playful with it. Maybe to write about it, maybe to journal about it, maybe to paint about it, to finger paint about it. I'm not talking about needing to be an artist here. To have conversations about it. However you feel led to play, but inviting some of that play in. A second way to strengthen imagination is to engage with storytelling. This is similar to inviting play. We live for stories. I just heard this quote the other day, and I can't even remember where I heard it, that humans, we need food, water, shelter, and stories for our survival. We need storytelling. When we read a book, we are actively using our imagination because, we can see the story in our minds as we read. That is our imaginative faculty at work. When you can see images that do not exist, that is the imagination. And of course, we also do it unconsciously when we dream. We dream in images, we dream in sounds, we dream, I don't know about you, sometimes I dream in color. Have you ever stopped to ask that? Are my dreams in black and white or color? Did I hear things? Did I hear sounds? Yes, I think so. Sometimes I have numbers in my dreams. I always have to look up and see what they meant. So yes, our imagination is always working, whether we're conscious of it or not. A third practice for strengthening our imagination is something that we're about to do together here, and that is meditation, or we could also call it active daydreaming. That's another way of using the mind. But, holding, there's that saying that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. We can actively engage our minds, our spirits, to hold those visions, whether it is formally in meditation or it is simply in daydreaming. We do it all the time, right? Our minds often in our day starts to wander and we start creating scenarios in our minds. What if we harnessed that power to use it consciously, intentionally? So imagination is not about denying reality. I want to be clear about this. It's not about denying reality and the situation that we are finding ourselves in. It's not about checking out. It's not about numbing out, but rather about consciously cultivating imagination as a tool to vision the future we wish to see. It's a conscious cultivating. And so let's practice together, shall we? Let's move into a time of meditation and engage the power of our imagination. So I invite you to just get comfortable, whatever that means for you. Maybe feeling yourself sitting in your chair or on your sofa, wherever you are, maybe feeling feet on the floor. If it's comfortable for you, you may wish to close your eyes or maybe just soften your gaze. Inviting a deep breath, a conscious breath, filling the lungs, softening through the belly, and exhaling, letting go. Sometimes I like to just shake out the body a little bit. On each inhale, expanding the ribs, opening the heart. On each exhale, maybe letting out a sigh. And continuing the breath at your own pace, at a natural rhythm. Beginning to let go of the outer physical world around us and bringing the attention within. Coming into the body and into the space of the heart. Shepherding the awareness, calling all parts of ourselves back to ourself, into our center, into our heart space. With each breath, returning. You may find it helpful to bring a hand to your heart or to your belly or both. And to just consciously bring the intention for grounding, coming home to this physical form, coming home to this very moment, to the present, to this breath. And noticing what we notice in this moment with this breath. How are we showing up to this moment? What is alive in the body, in the mind, in the spirit, in the soul, in this being? There's no right or wrong way to show up to the present moment. We simply notice what we notice. Maybe in this moment, we're experiencing physical discomfort or pain. Or maybe in this moment, you're noticing joy and hope swirling in your heart. Whatever it is you notice, simply allowing. with each breath, allowing. And as you breathe, as you ground in this present moment, I invite us to begin to bring our awareness into the space of our third eye, the space on the forehead between and slightly above our eyes. Continuing to breathe, continuing the heart opening, but inviting an opening, awakening of our inner vision. So not getting lost in thoughts or in thinking, staying grounded in the body, staying grounded in the heart, but allowing an opening of our vision. And as we do so, I invite you, with the power of your imagination and in your mind's eye, to create an image of a scenario that you would like to see. Continuing to breathe. And perhaps this scenario that you are picturing, perhaps it's a personal scenario. Perhaps seeing yourself healthy and whole, or in some other situation that you would like to bring into physicality. Or perhaps you would like to hold a vision for someone else, for their well-being, seeing them well, happy, safe, and whole. Breathing and imagining whatever details want to come in to this vision. Imagining colors, sounds, getting as specific as you wish. Again, not getting lost in thinking, but holding a vision while staying grounded in our bodies and in our hearts. I invite you to extend these images of well wishes to include all beings, holding a vision for our entire planet, our beautiful planet Earth, and for all inhabitants, for all humans, for all animals, for all plant life. What does your vision for life look like? What is the future you would like to see? How are humans interacting? How are they showing up for each other? What is the energy? What are the colors and shapes and sounds? Do you hear laughter? Do you hear song? What do you see and hear? Breathing. Breathing and utilizing this power of imagination, the power of the vision from within, and feeling into it with your whole being, with your heart, with every cell of your body. Welcoming a vision. Knowing that in this moment, in this now moment, this present moment, there is no past, there is no future. In this now moment, we envision life. We know it, we claim it, we joyously celebrate it. And in our hearts, we extend gratitude for it. So in whatever way it feels right for you, I invite you to bring reverence and gratitude for the visions held in your mind's eye and heart. Perhaps symbolically bowing to it. Yes, yes, yes. And I invite you to take a deep, cleansing breath. And exhale. And perhaps bringing palms together at your heart space. I'd like to close this meditation and this vision with a collective blessing for you, for your loved ones, and for all beings on this planet. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings know their true nature. May it be so. And so it is. Amen. And I invite you to gently return to this space together, allowing your eyes to flutter open. And just take a moment to return to this space, to this beautiful community. Just taking a moment to gaze at one another, looking into the eyes of our sacred community here. All of these beloveds with us today and those who are not with us today. It's an honor to be with you all, and thank you for engaging the power, the superpower of your imagination.